this week we're going to look at our number one unsafe behavior identified in 2017. So we're going to break it down, fall protection, into three specific categories of unsafe behavior. So first we're going to look at misuse. So this specific picture, we have a guy using a hinge anchor or a butterfly anchor, and they don't have enough anchors in it. They have 4 screws in this anchor. So we need to make sure we're using these anchors per the manufacturer's specifications in the exact material that they specify. And this list is on Field Tools. There's instructions how to anchor it to wood, concrete, and metal. So we want to make sure we're using the correct screws for that attachment. The next picture is these anchors are designed to use parallel with the anchor. So this specific example, they're using it perpendicular. So again, the hinge anchor, we cannot use perpendicular. We must use it parallel. So this specific example, they're using it perpendicular. We cannot be using it that way. We have a 15-degree either side of the anchor when we're using it parallel off the hinges. The next example that we're seeing is guys are using their 6-foot lanyards attached to their Miller soft stop. So here's the problem. All right, we're using soft stop and soft stop. All right, double soft stop shock absorbers. Manufacturer does not recommend this. We cannot tie off like this. So if you are using a lanyard, make sure it's tied off directly to your back. Here in the orange boom, we have some individuals using a metal cheater choker, cable cheater choker tied off to their SRL, to their Nano. So again, if we are using a boom lift, we need to be attached directly to the anchor point, not using any kind of two methods when we're tied off in a boom lift. This specific picture, we want to make sure whenever we're using fall protection, first off, we're tied off overhead when feasible. So here we're shooting down some deck. There's obviously nothing overhead, so we need to tie off at foot level, right? And make sure we have the proper screws and using that anchor the proper way. This individual is tied off below foot level, so this is unacceptable practice. He is using a soft stop, so that is great. But if he was to fall off this leading edge, it could cause some serious harm or damage. Second on the list is warning lines and perimeter cables. So this specific picture, guys are using danger tape as a warning line. This is an unacceptable practice because a warning line needs to have a tensile strength of 500 pounds. Danger tape is maybe 5 pounds of tensile strength. And then all warning line needs to be a minimum of 15 feet away from a hole or any kind of leading edge activity. So as you can see, it's way closer than 15 feet. This specific picture, it appears maybe they're using a warning line as a guardrail system. Again, unacceptable practice because this warning line is closer than 15 feet from the leading edge. Another example of a warning line, warning lines need to be contained and boxed off so no employees can get around. So this specific, right, there's some stud opening as well as they're using some danger tape. So unacceptable. We want to make sure we're using a warning line where we create a box and we got it set up in the proper manner. Perimeter cable, couple things here that we see is ribbon. So ribbon, high visible ribbon needs to be flagged on cable every 6 feet intervals, as well as 200 pounds when applied to cable in any type of direction. It cannot fall below 39 inches. So this specific cable needs to be tightened up, as well as some flagging needs to be added to be compliant. Lastly, on the cable, we must use 4 cable clamps when we're using perimeter cable as fall protection. This specific one, it looks like they're using 3, and we want to make sure we're saddling those clamps the correct way as well. Lastly is holes. So all holes 2-inch diameter must be covered. Those covers must be securely fastened. They must be clearly identified or labeled, and they must be capable of supporting twice the intended load. So roof, all right, we have some roof drains here. Yes, they're bigger than 2 inches and they're not protected. So if a hammer, screwdriver, tape measure, maybe someone's ankle gets caught in there, it's going to cause some damage or harm. This cover, yes, it meets the standard of fastened down, but it's not labeled. It's just a sheet of OSB sitting on an air hoover. So those definitely need to be corrected. Another couple examples is mechanical chases. So a lot of multi-story jobs have core holes. All these need to be protected immediately after the core is cut in the concrete. Again, this hole is not labeled, so we want to make sure all hole covers are clearly identified. Falls continue to be the leading cause in construction fatalities. So when we're using fall protection or going to be using fall protection, make sure we're taking the hazards in associated and talk about them and come up with a plan to eliminate those hazards on the job. That's this week's video, and have a safe week.